tomorrow. Merry Christmas week.
Might we hear directly from the president about what happened yesterday?
I think you will hear from him on how we're going to get the agenda done.
Will he take questions?
He takes questions multiple times a week, so depends on what you ask. Depends on what you ask.
Of every day I've been working on this, meeting with whether it be the President Biden, whether it be Majority Leader Schumer and his staff, whether it would be with Nancy Pelosi, and I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
The statement that you put out yesterday,
sure.
Very harsh statement. It's very rare that I see the President, through a statement, criticizing a member of his own party in the manner in which that statement was written. And I want to ask you as to whether or not you believe that harsh rhetoric coming from the White House, the harsh rhetoric that I've seen coming from fellow Democrats, progressives in particular, may push Senator Manchin out of the Democratic Party.
Well, Senator Manchin has spoken to that, and the president continues to believe that they share a range of values. They share a commitment to helping working people.
Well, are the comments of Senator Manchin over the course of the past several months, the comments that I've paid a lot of attention to, you have as well, the op-eds that he's written for both the Washington Post and his hometown newspapers, the interviews that he's done with a West Virginia radio host named Poppy Kercheval, all of them, from my perspective, seem to indicate that he was not going to support the Build Back Better bill. And yet your statement indicated utter surprise in terms of the statement that he made on Fox News yesterday. Why were you so surprised?
Well, I think, as my statement very clearly outlined, because there were private conversations and private discussions and commitments made. And so that's why we were surprised.
Today, two Democratic members of the House of Representatives, Representatives Murphy of New Jersey and Murphy of Florida and Sires of New Jersey, both announced their retirement, bringing to 22 the number of Democrats leaving the House for one reason or another. Is this something the President talks about, and does he have an opinion on the exodus of members of his own party?
I have learned my lesson and not talking too much about politics from here. But it is true that there are retirements. That happens typically every cycle. The president, as the leader of the party, obviously, I'm sure will be out there next year. We'll have more to preview on that when it's an appropriate time. But I would go ahead. Hello.
Thanks, Jen. Does the president think Senator Manchin
he always thinks of himself as a senator. There you go. You're not wrong.
Does the president think Senator Manchin has been negotiating in good faith?
He has said that from the beginning. He continues to consider him a friend. And obviously our statement yesterday about the events of the last few weeks, I think, speaks for itself.
Senator Manchin blaming White House staff. Steve Verchetti was reportedly a top liaison with Senator Manchin. Is Mr. Verchetti or any other West Wing staff being reassigned as a result of Senator Manchin's complaints?
No, and Senator Manchin hasn't even outlined more detail.
The President, of course, spoke with Senator Manchin many times. Senator Manchin seems to be essentially blaming the White House, right? He's referring to comments made by or staff or actions taken by the President's staff. He hasn't necessarily specified what those are. There are indications that it's perhaps a statement from Thursday. Do you think that there was a misstep on the part of the administration here? Because it feels like if you can't sort out what ticked him off, it's sort of difficult to imagine a path forward on whatever efforts to salvage this will be undertaken in the next weeks and months.
Well, look, I can't speak for Senator Manchin on what has upset him. I'll let him speak to that himself with more specifics if he chooses to, and he may or may not choose to, and that's his prerogative. All I can convey is that we continue to focus on how we're going to get this done.
Curious, what was the reaction among senior staffers here when Joe Manchin said that the president's aides alienated him, and that's the real reason that he backed away from the bill?
I think our statement yesterday speaks for itself.
Joe Manchin said that statement was an example of retaliation by the White House. What's your response to that?
The statement was a statement of facts of the events of what happened over the last few weeks, and it was simply an effort to make that clear to the American people.
Where are we with Manchin?
Well, I would say I think the a lengthy statement that I issued yesterday outlined pretty specifically the events of the last few weeks. And it was important to the president and to all of us to make that clear to the American people.
The president feel betrayed by his friend?
I think our statement yesterday made pretty clear what we feel, what was the factual depiction of events that happened.
Lines of communication stand at this point between either the president and Joe Manchin and the White House staff, which you spoke about. Is there a contact at all?
I'm just not going to assess or give you an update on specifics from here.
Does the president still trust Senator Manchin?
Again, I understand the questions here, but our focus is on moving forward. I think our statement yesterday made clear what the course of events were over the last couple of weeks. It was important for the American people to know and see that. But
are you confident that all 49 other members of the Democratic caucus are still on board with Build Back Better?
Sure, I understand that. I can't obviously speak for all of them, but I think you saw quite a bit of unanimity yesterday in the response of people and their desire from across the Democratic Party and the desire to get this legislation done.
What would be his message to progressives who he asked to hang with him as things moved over to the Senate, now that what many of them warned has happened?
Well, I would say, one, his message would be we need to work together to get this done, and he's going to work like hell to get it done.
Very clear about, I think, some palpable anger inside the White House related to a critical vote in the caucus.
Well, I think Senator Manchin had a strong statement yesterday, and we had a strong statement as well. And we're ready to move forward and get this done and work like hell to do that.
Did you see the Steve Clemons article today blaming the White House for incivility towards Senator Manchin, and specifically the statement that was released on Thursday evening, in which the assessment was that the senator thought that statement blamed him in a way that wasn't in keeping with the approach that he and the president have been dealing with?
I have not yet read his article. It's been a busy day. But I will tell you that our intention, I think if you look back to last Thursday, was to provide an update on the future of Build Back Better. And I think it is not a secret where there is opposition to Build Back Better moving forward. That was not intended to be directive or hurtful, but to be a statement of fact.
Did the White House share the Thursday statement with Senator Manchin before it was put out, and what was his reaction to that?
I'm not going to detail private discussions or private sharing of statements in advance.
His call out to Democrats for badgering him, saying that they believe that he could be moved in his position somehow. Is there any regret within the White House or within discussions with Democratic leadership just about how this negotiation went, given that statement from him that he feels that he's been badgered and beaten?
Well, that certainly is not our objective, never has been our objective, but our objective is getting this legislation passed.
But the president, ran as a moderate. Manchin's asking for major policy changes to be bipartisan. So why are Biden and Manchin seemingly so far apart on this, where Manchin's wanting to bring Republicans in and the president has, tried to work this out just within the Democrats?
The president would welcome Republicans joining this effort. He would welcome that. I think it's not a secret that opposition is driven by the concern by many in the Republican Party that they don't want to raise taxes on corporations and highest income. That's not a secret, but certainly we'd welcome support or engagement from any Republicans in this effort to get this done, to convey the risks, to continue, to make
the tree of what happened.
Federal Reserve or something else. No. Okay. I don't. Okay.